Rediscovering Gita for the Modern World by Shrikant Soman. Based on essays on Gita by Sri Aurobindo. Chapter 8 continued. Sankhya and Yoga. Continued from the previous episode 69, The Unborn and the Many, Reconciling the Oneself and Multiple Beings. Current episode 70. Beyond Sankhya, the Triple Purusha and the Conscious Nature. The Purushottama, the Gita's pinnacle of philosophy. The grand synthesis, how the Gita reconciles knowledge, action and devotion. Key takeaways. The Triple Purusha. The Gita introduces a third supreme Purusha, called Purushottama, in addition to the mutable Kshara, the mobile individual soul, and the immutable Akshara, the silent, inactive self. A higher Prakriti. The Gita refutes the idea that the soul is merely an ego sense within Prakriti by introducing a higher, conscious and divine nature. Mamaiva amshaha. The Jiva's dual role, the individual soul, Jiva, is a dynamic part of the divine. Foundation for Bhakti Yoga. The concept of the Purushottama provides the philosophical basis for Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion in action. Reconciliation of contradictions. The Gita's synthesis of Vedanta, Sankhya and Yoga, founded on the doctrine of the Purushottama and the two natures, higher and lower, successfully resolves the contradictions found in other systems. The Gita, while developing the thought of other passages in the Upanishads, adds yet another element to these two. Purusaha aksarat parataha para. Although the Akshara is supreme, there is a supreme Purusha higher than it, says the Upanishads. Divyaha amritaha ajaha shubhraha purushaha sabahiha bhyantaraha. He apranaha amanaha saha aksharat parataha ha. He, the divine, the formless spirit, even he is the outward and the inward, and he, the unborn, he is beyond life, beyond mind, luminous, supreme beyond the immutable. Mundakopanishad Dvitiyo, Mundak Prathama, Khanda verse 2. It is that of the Supreme, the Purushottama, the highest Purusha. His greatness all this creation is. Thus we now have three Purushas. The Akshara and the Uttama. Kshara is the mobile, the mutable nature. Swabhava. It is the various becoming of the soul. The Purusha here is the multiplicity of the divine being. It is the multiple Purushas, which are not apart from Prakriti. Instead, they are in the Prakriti. Akshara is immobile and immutable Purusha. It is the silent and inactive self. It is the unity of the divine being. He is the witness of nature, but not involved in her movement. He is the inactive Purusha, who is free from Prakriti and her works. The Uttama Purusha is the Lord Ishvara. He is the Supreme Brahman, the Supreme Self. He possesses both the immutable unity and the mobile multiplicity. He manifests himself in the world by a large mobility and action of his nature, by his energy, and by his will and power. At the same time, he is aloof from it, by a greater stillness and immobility of his being. Yet as Purushottama, he is above both the aloofness from nature as well as the attachment to nature. This idea of the Purushottama is continually implied in the Upanishads. However, there it is disengaged. It is brought out by the Gita in an explicitly clear and definite form for the first time. It has exercised a powerful influence on the later developments of the Indian religious consciousness. It is the foundation of the highest Bhakti Yoga, which claims to exceed the rigid definitions of monastic philosophy. It is also at the back of the philosophy of the devotional Puranas. At the same time, the Gita is not content to abide within the Sankhya analysis of Prakriti. The Sankhya philosophy makes room only for the ego sense and not for the multiple Purusha. Multiple Purusha is there not as a part of Prakriti, but separate from her. The Gita affirms on the contrary that the Lord by his nature becomes the multiple Jiva. How is that possible? There are only the 24 principles of the cosmic energy and no other. Yes, it is possible, asserts the divine teacher. Sankhya philosophy of 24 principles of the cosmic energy offer a perfectly valid justification for the apparent operations of the cosmic Prakriti with her three gunas. The relation attributed to Purusha and Prakriti also has quite valid and great use for explaining the phenomenon of the involution and the withdrawal. We should note that this is only the lower Prakriti of the three modes. It is only of the inconscient and the apparent type. There is also a higher, a supreme, a conscient and divine nature. It is this nature that has become the individual soul, the jiva. In the lower nature, each being appears as the ego. In the higher, he is the individual Purusha. In other words, the multiplicity is part of the spiritual nature of the one. This individual soul is myself. In the creation, it is a partial manifestation of me. Mamaiva amse. It possesses all my powers. It is a witness as well as a giver of the sanction. It is the upholder, knower, and the Lord. It descends into the lower nature and thinks itself bound by action so as to enjoy the lower being. At the same time, it can draw back and know itself as the passive Purusha free from all action. It can rise above the three gunas and still possess action even after it is liberated from the bondage of action, as I do it myself. By adoration of the Purushottama and by union with him, it can wholly enjoy its divine nature. Such is the analysis of the Gita. It does not confine itself to the apparent cosmic process. It penetrates into the occult secrets of superconscious nature. Uttamam Rahasyam. And by this philosophy, the Gita founds its synthesis of Vedanta, Sankhya and Yoga. It founds the synthesis of knowledge, works and devotion. Just by the Sankhya philosophy alone, it will be self-contradictory and also impossible to combine works and liberation. Similarly, by the theory of pure monism alone, the solving of this riddle becomes impossibility. After the ultimate stage of perfect knowledge and liberation and union is attained, the continuation of works thereafter as a part of yoga does not become compatible with the indulgence of devotion. Such a combination then becomes impossible, or at least irrational and osseous. Thus we have seen that the Sankhya knowledge of the Gita dissipates, and the yoga system of the Gita triumphs over all these obstacles. With this episode 70, we are concluding chapter 8, Sankhya and Yoga. From next episode 71, we will start with a new chapter 9, Sankhya, Yoga and Vedanta.